right, guys, we got stories that involve legal matters. We have questions about legal matters. And we have guys who can answer those questions. We got Dan Del Rio and Chuck Caraway from Del Rio and Caraway to help us sort all this out. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
All right, so first story. We talked about this, I think, here on the program about a week ago. A couple, they get into a car accident in an Uber. They're injured pretty badly. The court says they're not allowed to sue because they ordered Uber Eats one time. Explain that.
Yeah, so this is similar to the case we went over with the Disney where the lady was eating at one of the restaurants, got sick, and unfortunately died. And they're saying because she had Disney Plus, which is a different
streaming service,
but it's under Disney's umbrella, that she wasn't allowed to do that. Now, in that case, Disney kind of pulled back and said, look, we're going to drop this. We're going to allow you to go forward. In this case, what we have is we have these couple that gets injured while they're in an Uber, and they're saying because you have Uber Eats and you've ordered food, we're going to enforce this.
You agreed to the terms and conditions that said, well, you have to go to arbitration, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Now, this case is a little bit odd, and they said that we're not really sure that we even signed up for Uber Eats. Our daughter probably did it. But the court said because they weren't able to prove that they were going to enforce this, and it went up one level to an appeals level, and it's been approved at that level. But arbitration clauses, everybody signs these things when they're signed off on the terms of use, so nobody really reads these things. So the court in this jurisdiction has also said, look, it has to be clear. And in this case, they said it was clear. But my opinion on this is this seems to be some new novel area of law that giant corporations are trying to get away with. It's probably going to go up a couple more levels of appeal, and it's going to get hashed out and figured out, because it seems unreasonable to enforce Uber Eats when you're in an Uber car.
There needs to be separate terms and conditions for the different services these companies offer. All right, so another story we've seen in the headlines is, of course, the Sean Diddy Combs case. He's being held in jail right now, facing charges of, racketeering, trafficking. But a lot of folks have had the question about, well, hasn't the statute of limitations expired on a lot of these? But that's not the case.
So, because of an interesting law in New York, they revived them. So what happens is it's very interesting because a lot of these counts go back to like 2008. They're really, really old. New York decided to put out a law that essentially undid any statute of limitations claim for sexual abuse. It was the Adult Survivors Act. For 1 year, from November of 22 to November of 23, they said the statute of limitations cannot bar these claims. So any survivor of who wanted to make a civil sexual abuse claim was able to bring it during that 1 year period as if the statute of limitations did not exist. Well, what happened is hundreds of people came forward. Well, that turned the prosecutor's eye, and all of a sudden the prosecutor said, oh gosh, here's hundreds of people claiming it happened. Here's hundreds of people talking about how, what they went through. They were able to go get the warrants. They were able to go ahead and get the video. So the criminal case was built up because of this new law that allowed the civil cases to come late. And essentially, they did the first bit of work getting all of that information together. That's what got the prosecution going for the criminal case.
And then here we are. See what happens next over the next few months. All right, how about a more fun, lighthearted story? A woman has 100, maybe even more raccoons show up in her yard. What's the legal angle on this? Yes, legal? I don't know.
It's a fun story to end it on. I got old school mic'd up just now, so we'll see how this works out. But it's funny is I have a similar issue with peacocks, and what it is that this lady decided that she was going to feed this small family of raccoons. Small family of raccoons became a larger family of raccoons.
A clan.
And then it became 100 raccoons, and she's going to and from her house, and the raccoons want money, and so they're running at her and they're becoming aggressive.
By money we mean food.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said money, food. Sorry. So basically what happens is that she calls 911, which is an emergency phone number, and says you need to take care of this. And the sheriff's department's like, no, this isn't our issue. This is. Now you could probably call Animal Control Services and maybe they're going to do something. But the basic PSA on this is that 911 is an emergency number, and there's actually laws that say if you abuse that, you could be charged with a misdemeanor. But it's not to be used when you feed too many raccoons and there's too many raccoons at your
house. I can see how that would feel like an emergency when you have 100 raccoons. It looks threatening if nothing else.
By the way, it's a gaze of raccoons, a group of raccoons.
A gaze?
Is that what it is? All right.
Courtney's our chief plural animal correspondent here.
That's amazing.
I'm your girl.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Guys.
That's good stuff.